Hello and welcome, dear fans of the genre, to my Bulgarian Civ/tech tree speculation video. If I would need to classify the Bulgarians as an Age of Empires 2 Civ, I think you would have every right to call them a cavalry Civ first and foremost. Leading to this conclusion are several points I will talk about now. The first and most obvious one really is their unique unit, of course, which has been shown on the A3 trailer, which is that mounted flail carrying heavily armored rider, but also the history of the kingdom Bulgaria lets us draw similar conclusions, of course. The first group of people to actually introduce stirrups into Europe were the Avars, which lived in the area, later belonging to the Bulgarian kingdom. Despite the group of the Avars and the group of the Bulgarians being sort of in conflict, they still learned from each other in that situation. However, also the military tactics of the Bulgarians themselves lean towards this direction. Their use of heavy and light cavalry, the latter of mercenaries from the Cumans, hints at how important mounted soldiers were in their combat operations. Ambushes, extensive raiding in wartime, and chasing a beaten army, in one case even for 200 miles, were all cornerstones of Bulgarian warfare. Through time, there were also reports of the increasing role of infantry in the Bulgarian army, as well as their decent archery, which they actually became known for, but the mounted combat seemed by far to be the preferred way to decide a battle. Around the year 800, they gained a knowledge on how to build elaborate siege weaponry, and thus had an impressive range of catapults and the swords soon after. For example, during the siege of Adrianople in 1207, the Bulgarian army fielded as much as 33 catapults, which underlines the important role of siege weapons in the war machine of Bulgaria from that point on. But how could those things be put into relation to the game? First of all, it is pretty safe to say that there will be at least one cavalry-related bonus or technology. It will either be connected to their heavy horse armor or the increased agility and fighting capacity provided by the use of stirrups. Since the heavy cavalry was Bulgarian, but the light cavalry they used was mostly mercenaries, in this case Cumans, I would expect them to have a full blacksmith upgrades for the mounted units, as well as access to the paladin upgrade, but maybe no light cavalry available. That role could be filled by those Cuman mercenaries, and since we already saw Forgotten Empires do this in previous cases, to utilize already existing features or units in the game, an example for this would be the Berber's Genitor. I think in this case it would be fitting to do something similar, like including a building shared between players as a team bonus, for example the Trade Workshop, because that model is already done, you just need to use it. The third workshop, let's call it the Tavern from now on, would be available to all players of a team with a Bulgarian ally from the Castle Age on, and would give them access to a special Cuman light cavalry mercenary unit with bonus damage to villages and non-stone buildings, for example, to emphasize really that raiding and devastating of landscapes while not being the most effective choice in direct combat. Another option would be the possibility to train each other's unique unit in the tavern, making the Bulgarians a valid pick for interesting team compositions. In how far the preferred strategy of the Bulgarian generals, the ambush, could translate into the game mechanics is a little bit more obscure, I'd say. Bonus damage while fighting in a certain distance to the enemy town center, or fighting against isolated out-of-formation soldiers would be things I could come up with, but they feel a little bit too far away from already existing mechanics and are maybe a little bit hard to grasp or to utilize within real game situations. Thus, it is not really a sure thing in how far, if at all, this aspect will be included in the Age of Empires' Bulgarian faction in the end. Maybe a low hit point value but high attack bonus for their unique unit could possibly mirror that in a little bit more abstract way. Also, as someone commented under my Age of Empires 2 trailer analysis video, the wonder the Bulgarians will have is the round church of Preslav. The fleet of the medieval Bulgarians, however, was way less than impressive. For most of the Middle Ages they did not really have a fleet. Later on they started to build a few galleys for coastal raids, and only in the late 14th century they really started to build a proper navy. So I would say it is safe to say that navy and ships will not play a huge role in the Age of Empires Bulgarian Civ as well. Probably missing upgrades like fast fire ships, elite bombard galleon, and the galleon itself, maybe getting one of the three, but it would be a surprise to me if they had all of those, and probably also missing some of those later shipyard technologies as well. If we want to talk about the economy of the Bulgarian Empire, we need to mention first and foremost that livestock breeding and agriculture were the most important pillars of the Bulgarian economy. The Bulgarian emperor actually received the right to mint coins by the Pope himself, so this could translate to either a bonus to the gold miners, or what I would probably see as more fitting, a bonus to their trades. Maybe cheaper market technologies, free coinage, things like these could come into mind. These are basically the results of my little research here on the medieval Bulgarians, on the Bulgarian Empire. I think there were even 2 Bulgarian empires. So really there's a lot of different time eras, groups of people who were in and around Bulgaria, which could influence the tech tree, the unique technologies, the bonuses of Bulgarians in Age of Empires 2. But maybe I also missed some things, so if you have something in mind which I actually did not mention, be sure to mention that in the comments so we can maybe have a little discussion going on there. If you got a different view on the Bulgarians and what your ideas of how they could turn out would be. Alright, but for now this is all I would like to say here and show to you. I would like to wish you a great day and see you next time. This has been Alkhalim.